Good afternoon, YouTube. Again, it's been a little bit of a wait for the next video. You have to excuse me today, I've got a bad chest, so if I start croaking halfway through, you'll know why. I've had this one for a while. It is part of the Backwoods Bushcrafter series from Rough Rider, and it's the Doctor's Knife. It comes in one of these lovely printed magnetic boxes. I think that's something that Rough Rider do really well. For the money in particular. I've had much more expensive knives that come in really basic boxes, so if presentation is your thing, this series will probably go down well with you. And even more so, not just the magnetic box, which is nice, it comes with foam inserts which the knife sits in a cutout. First time I've seen that on one of my Rough Riders. But I am no authority. Obviously, I'm just going on my own opinion. I think that looks lovely. Really nice presentation. If you're going to give that as a gift or something, that box makes all the difference. For those that aren't interested in the box, let's have a look at the knife. If I can get it out. So the knife itself is in this gorgeous, I think, saw cut bone. It's one of the nicest saw cuts that I've had on any that I've bought. Obviously, I'm sure someone out there will have much better examples, but if you look in between the saw cuts, it's got these very fine lines. Looks almost like feathers. Each end of the bolster is got that kind of translucent quality to it. It's nice bone. I think that looks like a classy knife. I like the copper with the saw cut bone. It looks posh. I even like the R on this one, because you haven't got much of the bit underneath. It looks like it's supposed to be there, whereas it looks odd on some other of the Rough Rider knives. The pins are flush. The shield is flush, unlike on those new heavy duty ones that they've made. The transitions, come on camera, focus. The transitions to the bolsters, really good, no gapping, you can't feel them, both sides. It's just a really good looking knife. The copper is obviously starting to tarnish. I have carried this, but if you look overall, I mean, if you look very carefully, if I can focus, very carefully, there is some ever so slight gapping there, but nothing that you can complain about at this price. This particular one, I don't know whether they're all like this, seems to be very well done. These are about £20 on Heine Haynes from memory when I bought it, and the blade, it's a very weak back spring. That's one thing I would say. I'd say on my scale it's probably a 2. I don't measure them, but I do sometimes compare them back of blade to back of the blade, and this is one of the weakest I've got. But it's not meant to be a heavy duty knife. Obviously it's a thin pen blade with a slight swedge in the top. It is 440A razor sharp. I did put a different edge on this. It came sharp, but like a lot of the Rough Riders, the grind wasn't straight. They often tend to twist down the length of the knife. I don't know how they grind them, so I put a 20° per side edge on this one, but it is very sharp. 440A obviously isn't going to win any competitions for edge retention, but I don't think that's what this is meant for. This is meant for the occasional use. Chuck it in a handbag or a coat pocket or whatever, however people are carrying them, and it's going to be brought out to cut the odd tag off or bit of string or get into a box or whatever. You're not going to do much more than that with this. There's no finger choil. It's quite a weak back spring. You're not going to be doing hard work, but it's a very thinly ground, sharp blade, which is all a lot of people need. The actual length of the blade itself, because the knife is so slim, it's almost, you imagine it's a very small knife, but I carry this if I'm carrying my copper EDC stuff with the Mech Army EK3R. The cutting edge on the Rough Rider is actually longer than on the Mech Army in this case. And another one to compare it against, the Boker that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. If you look at the cutting edge, it's about the same. So this one, obviously I've had some more comments about the legality of this one. The cutting edge on this may even be ever so slightly longer than on the Boker. So it does have a decent amount of blade length, albeit it's quite a shallow pen blade. But it's still going to be useful for a lot of people. Another comparison, the Luna that I always bring out. The blade length on that, again, about the same as the Luna, maybe ever so slightly longer on the Rough Rider. So overall, for the money, I think it's a lovely little thing. I carry it as a secondary knife, not as my primary blade. I tend to carry it with something a bit more heavy duty, something like that. But I did buy another one of these as a gift for a female member of my family that's not into knives, but this is the type of thing that she can chuck in her handbag, and then she's got a blade should she ever need one, and it makes a nice gift. In the box, in the foam and everything, it looks more expensive than it is. So I think that's a good effort by Rough Rider. I like the Backwoods Bushcrafter series. I might on the back of this get one of their Barlows, because the Barlow looks nice as well. I've just bought the High Carbon 2, but I might get the Barlow in this version. Just before I wrap this one up, I just wanted to show you on the other end of the scale for cheap Rough Riders, and this is probably why a lot of people say I wouldn't buy one. I decided to chuck onto my last order a £10 mini canoe, and when it arrived, so excuse my nails, sorry, I cut myself, it keeps leaking in. It's cracked from the bolster to the pin, which wasn't very good. The actual action itself of these, there is no real walk and talk, it's just mushy. I think that's a half stop, or maybe it's just dirt. Then it opens okay. I mean, it's got a similar kind of back spring, but just mushy rubbish. Same with the secondary blade. The pictures looked, it looked pretty good value for it. I think these are £10, just under. So I thought, I'll chuck one onto the order and see what it's like. Gapping wise, it's not too bad on the back spring, but if you look at the covers don't fit properly. There's gaps behind there. The lock up between the two, they do that weird thing where they round both of them over so that you can't tell how precise it was. The blades themselves rub, so the front of the blade rubs on the bolster because it's right over to that side, so every time you sharpen that you can feel it. It's just going to blunt the end of that blade, so pretty useless really. I'm not going to carry that for anything. The staining on the bone that came like that out the box, that black staining. In credit to Heine Haynes, I did get in contact with them, told them what the faults were, and they sent me a link so that I could download a free postage label, and then you have to take it to the post office, send it back, and they decide whether they're going to refund or give you another one. And I couldn't be bothered. I've got too much on at the moment. For the sake of a tenner, I thought I will use this as a test to see how RIT dye goes into the bone. I might try dyeing this one, and I might see if I can acid wash the blade without taking it apart, see whether I can get right into the bottom of the blade without it looking stupid. Probably will. What do I know? I'm no authority on knives. All I do is give you my opinion on things that I buy for myself. I'm certainly not going to tell other YouTubers how to do their thing or pretend to be any kind of authority, because I'm certainly not. And really started, I've always carried a knife, but I only started collecting them beginning of this year. So what do I know? Anyway, I hope you found the information on the backwoods bushcraft doctor's knife useful. I really like this for the money. I think it looks really good. Big fan of that copper and the saw cut bone. As I say, we might make a nice gift, or maybe just a light duty knife for somebody who doesn't do many cutting tasks through the day, just wants the occasional sharp implement. Anyway, hope you found that useful. I will upload another one soon to make up for the time off, get through some of these reviews. If there's anything in particular you want to see, or any criticisms you've got, just put them in the comments and I will respond to them. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I will get more videos out. All right, ta-ta.